Skyrocket is one of the main steel coasters at Kennywood. This was a prototype launch coaster from Premier Rides, and the first two-thirds of this ride is great. The final third, though, is an immense disappointment. So is it ultimately a good experience? Find out in this review of Skyrocket. From 1996 through 2006, Premier offered launch coasters using linear induction motors, or LIMs. They were the first company to offer magnetic launch coasters. Examples include the popular Flight of Fear clones at the Cedar Fair parks and the Mr. Freeze coasters at the Six Flags parks. During that period, a few other manufacturers began offering launches with linear synchronous motors, or LSMs. These required more complex control systems, but they were smaller and far more efficient. Premier Rides switched to LSMs in the late 2000s for their Skyrocket model. Most of these have been compact swing launch coasters known as the Skyrocket 2. They've also made some custom versions though. The first ride of its kind went to Kennywood in 2010. The park liked the model name so much that they named the coaster Skyrocket. The ride has no theming, but has a really cool entrance sign with the ride's name and some rockets adjacent to it. This coaster filled two voids for the park. One, it gave them their first launch coaster in 2 decades. 2, it was their first coaster with inversion since Steel Phantom was converted into Phantom's Revenge in 2001. For a prototype, Skyrocket has been mostly reliable. The most notable issue occurred in 2018 when the ride's electrical room caught fire. This kept the ride closed for a year while they awaited a replacement generator. Skyrocket was placed towards the front of the park where the Turnpike antique cars once ran. Kennywood stated at the time that Turnpike would be rebuilt somewhere else in the park, but 15 years have passed and the ride still has not been reassembled. Skyrocket makes a great first impression as you approach the park. The ride runs alongside the road, so you can see it from your car. After you pass through the main entrance, you take a tunnel underneath that very road, but not before you see Skyrocket's layout in full. After you pass through the tunnel, Skyrocket is the first ride you encounter off to the right, so many people make it their first stop of the day. This causes the ride's queue line to spike early in the day. This also is not a queue you want to get stuck in because it has absolutely no shade. It is much wiser to start with the coasters towards the back of the park and return to Skyrocket in the afternoon when the line dies down. Usually, it's no more than a 10 to 20 minute wait at that point, and often it's been a near walk-on for me the last hour of the day. The one exception is if this ride runs just one train. That happened in 2020, causing the coaster to have extremely long waits all day long. Fortunately, Skyrocket almost always runs 2 trains. Each train holds just 12 riders, as there are 2 cars with 3 rows of 2. If the coaster does have a sizable wait, it is included in the park's paid Speedy Pass Skip the Line system. You can either purchase a single shot or use the all-day option. This merges you right before the station, so you shouldn't have to wait more than 5 or so minutes. The trains are extremely awkward to enter and exit due to the tight seat pitch, but dispatches are still swift. The crew usually has the next train ready to go once the prior one hits that final brake run. A main reason is the simple restraints. You have just a U-shaped lap bar. There are no seatbelts nor comfort collars. You'll find those in most other Premier launch coasters. I find the lap bar component comfortable, but it can ratchet further down during moments of high positive Gs, so I would recommend holding on to it after it's checked. The trains have very little legroom though. The shin guards are flat wedges with minimal clearance. In most rows, you can at least tuck your feet underneath the seat to get some extra room. However, the very back row of each car, or row 3 and 6 specifically, have a metal plate directly under the seat. This means your legs have nowhere to go, and they will be pinned in place by the shin guards. That is not very comfortable, so I would avoid these 2 rows if possible. I think the back car offers the best forces, so I think rows 4 and 5 offer the best overall experience. And when you reach the station, you can wait for any seat that you'd like. Once dispatched, you round a corner and head straight into the LSM launch. This rolling launch has a weak initial kick, but it has solid force once it gets going. I absolutely love the whirring sound the launch makes, and the placement is cool too. It runs alongside the road, so it looks like you're racing the adjacent cars. It also runs next to the queue to build anticipation for those waiting. This leads into the ride's largest element, a 95-foot or 29-meter tall top hat. The entry into this element offers a brief surge of positive Gs. The apex offers some excellent airtime for everyone. The front car gets a strong ejector pop. The back car gets a nice floater over the top. Then there's a trim that serves as a pseudo holding brake just before the descent. Once it releases, those in the back car get a second dose of this airtime. This time, great ejector. I know some find the holding brake annoying, but I don't mind because of how the back car uniquely gets this double dose of negative Gs. The pullout then offers strong positive Gs to contrast. This is immediately followed by the first of 3 inversions, a very fast cutback. But it feels more like an overbank in terms of the forces it offers. It is brisk and high in the positive forces, so I usually gray out from the sustained Gs. Next comes my favorite of the 3 inversions, the 0G roll. A lot of 0G rolls are floaty and offer hang time. Not this one. The train absolutely charges through it. You whip through it so quickly that you essentially get inverted ejector airtime, which is quite the thrill with just a lap bar. You more forcefully come out of your seat than on any stall from an RMC. You then twist upwards into the mid-course brake run. This climb has no notable forces. The mid-course doesn't seem like it'll slow you down much at first, but the brakes sharply bring you to a crawl by the end. The second half kicks things off with a super steep drop. If you're in that back car, you'll get some intense ejector airtime here. It is the strongest single moment of negative Gs on the ride. This is followed by a low turn that gets super close to the ground. It also offers decent positive Gs. Then comes the last inversion, a corkscrew. This offers inverted airtime once again, but this time it is of the floater variety. I like how all 3 inversions feel distinctly different on this ride. At this point, Skyrocket dies. There's still some more elements, but they barely do anything. It is a severe drop in quality. First, there's a 180-degree turn that does nothing. Second, there are a series of S-bends. I think the coaster is trying to emulate the sections of Trick Track from old school wood coasters, but it doesn't work on Skyrocket. The ride is too smooth and fluid to offer any forces. Third, you have a far turnaround that's just as sterile as the prior turn. Fourth are 2 bunny hills. These offer very, very weak floater pops, but you do technically lift out of your seat ever so slightly. Then you meekly twist upwards and to the left into the final brake run. You then slowly creep back to the station, ending the 2,100-foot or 640-meter long coaster. That doesn't sound like a lot of track, but the ride has plenty of elements for a launch coaster, especially for one that's fairly compact like this. As I alluded to, this coaster is glass smooth. The ride tracks flawlessly, and it doesn't have a hint of a rattle anywhere. Premier almost always excels in this area. So, what would I rate Skyrocket? I would give this coaster a 7.5 out of 10. The ride starts strong. The launch is nice. The initial drops have great airtime. The inversions offer good forces, and the low sections offer nice positive Gs. Had the coaster maintained that level of quality start to finish, it probably would have earned a 9 out of 10, but the finale absolutely fizzles out. The final few elements offer no notable forces. It is still a quality ride and my 3rd favorite coaster at the park, but be prepared for the coaster to rapidly change from a fantastic thrill coaster to something less thrilling than Lil Phantom in an instant. So those are my thoughts on Skyrocket at Kennywood. What are your thoughts on this coaster and its uneven pacing? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canobie Coaster. Thanks for watching.